In the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, have you ever felt a gentle nudge, a soft whisper in your heart that seemed to come from beyond? That moment when the world around you fades away, and you're left with an inexplicable sense of peace and guidance. This experience is not just a fleeting feeling, it is an invitation to embark on a journey of spiritual discovery. Tonight, we invite you to explore the profound yet often overlooked way in which the divine communicates with us, through the gentle whisper of God. This whisper is more than mere intuition, it is a sacred dialogue that invites us into a deeper relationship with the Creator. It beckons us to pause, reflect, and listen attentively to the subtle messages that can guide our paths and transform our lives. The act of listening for this divine whisper requires intentionality in our fast-paced world. Amidst the chaos of notifications, family obligations, and the relentless demands of work, we often overlook these gentle nudges. Yet, it is precisely in these moments of distraction that we need to cultivate the ability to tune into God's voice. Just as a loving parent lowers their voice to capture a distracted child's attention, God invites us to lean in closer, creating space for intimate communion. This journey into spiritual awareness involves setting aside time for quiet reflection, whether through meditation, prayer, or simply being present in nature. By doing so, we open ourselves up to receive guidance that can lead us toward peace and fulfillment. The whisper of God is not just a call, it is an invitation to deepen our understanding of ourselves and our purpose in life. In a world that often equates power with loudness and importance with grandeur, the idea of God speaking in a whisper might seem counterintuitive. However, as we delve into scriptures and the experiences of countless believers throughout history, we find that God's most profound messages often come not in earth-shattering displays of might but in the quietest moments of our lives. The story of Elijah in 1 Kings 19 verses 11 to 12 beautifully illustrates this truth. After witnessing God's power manifest in wind, earthquake, and fire, Elijah encounters the divine in a still small voice, or a gentle whisper. This narrative challenges our perceptions and invites us to reconsider how we listen for God's voice in our lives. It reminds us that true strength lies not in loud proclamations but in subtlety and gentleness. This scriptural account serves as a powerful reminder that God's communication often occurs outside the dramatic moments we might expect. Instead of seeking grand signs or miraculous events, we are encouraged to cultivate an awareness of the everyday whispers that guide us toward righteousness and love. The notion that God speaks softly encourages us to be patient listeners who seek understanding rather than immediate answers. In this way, we can develop a more profound spiritual connection that fosters growth and transformation within ourselves. As we reflect on Elijah's experience, we are invited to explore how we might recognize similar whispers in our own lives, moments where divine guidance intersects with our human experience. In our modern world, saturated with noise and constant stimulation, the concept of listening for a whisper might seem daunting. Our days are filled with the clamor of notifications, the demands of work and family, and the incessant chatter of our own thoughts. It's easy to feel overwhelmed and miss the subtle promptings of the Spirit amidst this cacophony. Yet it is precisely in this noisy context that God's whisper becomes most profound. The divine invitation calls us to step back from distractions and create intentional moments of stillness where we can hear His voice clearly. Like tuning an old radio to find a clear signal amidst static, we must adjust our hearts and minds to receive what God wishes to communicate. Creating these moments of stillness may require effort and commitment but can lead to transformative experiences. It could mean waking up a few minutes earlier for quiet reflection or taking solitary walks in nature where we can connect with creation, God's love letters written across landscapes. By pausing throughout our day to acknowledge God's presence, we cultivate an environment conducive to hearing His whispers. These practices are essential not only for personal growth but also for fostering community among those who share similar journeys towards spiritual discernment. When we gather together in shared silence or prayerful reflection, we amplify each other's capacity to hear God's gentle voice guiding us toward love and understanding. This gentle approach reflects the very nature of God, not a distant deity but a close presence eager to connect with each individual personally. It speaks volumes about God's respect for our free will. He does not force his way into our lives but patiently waits for us to tune into his frequency.
The whisper of God is an invitation to relationship, a call to step out of noise into sacred space where connection flourishes. As we ponder this divine communication style, we are encouraged to consider how it shapes our understanding of faith and spirituality. As we reflect on these themes, let's consider how we might create moments of stillness in our lives, opportunities to listen for that gentle voice guiding us toward deeper truths about ourselves and our purpose within creation. It may involve practical steps like establishing routines that prioritize quiet time or engaging actively with Scripture as part of daily life. By doing so, we open ourselves up not only to hear but also respond meaningfully when God speaks through whispers rather than thunderous declarations. We'd love to hear from you. Have you experienced God's gentle whisper in your life? How do you create space to listen? Share your stories in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that nourishes your spirit and deepens your faith journey. By choosing to listen, you're not just exploring a personal spiritual path, you're becoming a beacon of hope, a catalyst for collective elevation. This journey of tuning into the divine frequency has the power to heal generational wounds, break cycles of limitation, inspire those around you, and unlock unprecedented potential. When we commit to listening deeply, we engage in a transformative process that reverberates beyond our individual experiences. Each act of listening cultivates an environment where healing can flourish, allowing us to confront and mend the deep-rooted pains passed down through generations. This healing is not merely personal, it creates ripples that can touch the lives of those around us, fostering a community rooted in understanding and compassion. Moreover, your willingness to listen can serve as an inspiration for others. When you embrace this journey, you model a courageous approach to spirituality that encourages those in your circle to do the same. As each person begins to tune into their own divine whispers, a collective elevation occurs, one that empowers individuals to break free from limitations and realize their true potential. This shared journey creates a sacred community of spiritual seekers who dare to listen deeply, love courageously, and live authentically. In this space, stories intertwine, and each person's narrative becomes essential to the greater spiritual tapestry of humanity. By sharing your journey and insights, you contribute to a larger dialogue about faith and spirituality that can uplift and inspire countless others. The Bible is replete with passages that encourage us to cultivate a listening heart and create space for God's voice in our lives. These scriptures serve not just as ancient wisdom but as living invitations to experience the divine in profound and personal ways. For instance, Proverbs 1:5 states, "A wise man will hear and increase in learning," emphasizing the importance of being receptive to wisdom. This verse highlights that listening is not merely passive, it actively contributes to our growth and understanding. By embracing this call to listen, we open ourselves up to deeper insights that can guide our spiritual journeys. Additionally, Matthew 17 verse 5 offers a powerful reminder of the importance of listening when it says, "This is my dearly loved son, listen to him." This directive underscores the significance of heeding divine instruction as a pathway towards spiritual fulfillment. It invites us to consider how often we truly listen, not just with our ears but with our hearts, allowing God's voice to penetrate our busy lives. When we take these scriptures seriously, we begin to see them as more than historical texts. They become dynamic tools for transformation that challenge us to engage actively with our faith. By reflecting on these verses and their implications for our lives today, we can cultivate an attitude of attentiveness that enriches our spiritual practice. As we explore these powerful verses further, it becomes clear that listening is not just about hearing words, it is about developing a posture of openness toward God and others. James 1 verse 19 encourages us by stating, "Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak and slow to become angry." This verse serves as a reminder that true listening fosters patience and understanding in our relationships. It challenges us to prioritize listening over speaking in our interactions with others, reflecting God's love through our attentiveness. By embodying this principle in our daily lives, we create spaces where meaningful conversations can flourish, spaces where healing takes place not only within ourselves but also within our communities.
Moreover, Psalm 46 verse 10 invites us into stillness. Be still, and know that I am God. This call for quietude emphasizes the necessity of creating moments of silence amidst life's chaos so we can truly hear God's voice speaking into our circumstances. In these moments of stillness, we are reminded of God's sovereignty and presence in every aspect of our lives. By integrating practices such as meditation or prayer into our routines, we cultivate an environment where divine communication can occur freely and profoundly. These scriptural invitations challenge us not only to listen but also to act upon what we hear, transforming knowledge into action that reflects God's love in tangible ways. Don't just watch from the sidelines. Engage. Commit. Transform. Like. Subscribe. Listen. In conclusion, embracing the call to listen deeply allows us access into deeper realms where divine communication unfolds through gentle nudges rather than overwhelming displays, inviting transformation at every turn along the way. As we engage with these biblical passages encouraging attentive listening, let us remember that each moment spent in reflection brings us closer together as a community united by faith and purpose. Your story isn't just important, it's essential, an integral part of the greater narrative woven throughout humanity's spiritual tapestry. Together, let us commit ourselves anew to this sacred journey of listening and responding with authenticity and love. Be still, and know that I am God. Psalm 46 verse 10, is perhaps one of the most well-known and oft-quoted verses on this theme. In its original context, this psalm was a bold declaration of God's sovereignty amidst chaos and upheaval. The historical backdrop of this scripture reflects a time of turmoil for the Israelites, where external threats loomed large and fear threatened to overwhelm their faith. Today, this verse resonates deeply within our hearts, calling us to pause amid our busy lives and acknowledge the presence of the divine. It serves as a reminder that even in the midst of our personal storms, whether they be emotional, relational, or spiritual, we can find solace in the assurance that God is in control. The Hebrew word for be still, rapha, carries connotations of letting go, releasing, and surrendering. This is not merely an invitation to silence our surroundings but a profound call to cease our striving, relinquish our need for control, and sink into the reality of God's presence and power. In a world that often equates busyness with importance and productivity with worth, this command to be still is revolutionary. It challenges our societal norms that prioritize constant activity over reflection and connection. By embracing stillness, we are reminded that our primary identity is not rooted in what we do but in who we are in relation to God. This realization invites us into a deeper understanding of ourselves as beloved children of God, valued not for our achievements but for our inherent worth as His creations. Jesus' words in John 10 verse 27, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me," offer a beautiful picture of intimate relationship and guidance. This metaphor of shepherd and sheep speaks to the close, personal nature of our connection with God. It suggests that recognizing God's voice is not a mystical skill reserved for the spiritually elite but rather a natural outcome of a close relationship. Just as a sheep learns to distinguish its shepherd's voice from others through familiarity and trust, we too can learn to recognize God's guidance in our lives through consistent communion and obedience. This verse assures us that as we cultivate closeness with God, through prayer, meditation, and reflection, we become more attuned to His voice and leading. Furthermore, this intimate relationship is characterized by mutual recognition. Jesus knows His sheep just as they know Him. This reciprocal understanding emphasizes the depth of connection that is possible between us and the divine. It invites us to consider how we can foster this relationship further by being intentional about spending time in His presence. Engaging with Scripture, participating in community worship, or simply sitting quietly in prayer can enhance our ability to hear His voice amidst the noise of life. The more we immerse ourselves in this relationship, the clearer His guidance becomes, transforming our lives into reflections of His love and purpose. The simple yet profound prayer of Samuel, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. 1 Samuel 3 verse 9, offers us a model for approaching God with an open and receptive heart. Samuel's story is particularly poignant, a young boy learning to recognize God's voice under the guidance of his mentor, Eli. This narrative highlights the importance of spiritual mentorship and community in discerning God's voice.
Samuel's willingness to listen demonstrates humility and readiness, qualities essential for hearing from God. His response embodies an attitude not just of passive hearing but active obedience, a crucial aspect of truly listening to God. This story serves as an encouragement for all believers to seek out mentors who can guide them on their spiritual journeys. Just as Eli helped Samuel discern God's call, we too can benefit from the wisdom and experience of those who have walked with God longer than we have. Additionally, it emphasizes the importance of community in nurturing our ability to listen for God's voice. When we share our experiences with one another, discussing what we believe God is saying, we create a supportive environment where everyone can grow in their understanding of divine guidance. These scriptures paint a picture of a God who is constantly communicating, constantly inviting us into deeper relationship and understanding. They challenge us to move beyond a transactional view of prayer, where we simply present our requests and move on, to a transformational experience of communion with the divine. This shift requires intentional practices that help us cultivate stillness, attentiveness, and obedience in our daily lives. By approaching prayer as an opportunity for dialogue rather than monologue, we open ourselves up to receive insights that can profoundly impact our lives. As we reflect on these passages, let's consider how we might incorporate their wisdom into our daily routines. Perhaps it means starting our day with a moment of stillness, acknowledging God's presence before the rush of activities begins, or creating regular listening posts throughout our day where we pause to tune our hearts to God's frequency. These intentional moments allow us to recalibrate amidst life's chaos and remind us that divine communication is always available if we choose to listen actively. Additionally, ending our day with reflective prayer can be transformative. Asking God to help us recognize His voice more clearly fosters an ongoing dialogue that deepens over time. By making these practices habitual, we cultivate an environment where listening becomes second nature, a vital aspect of living out our faith authentically. Ultimately, these scriptures invite us into a richer spiritual experience where we learn not only to hear but also to respond joyfully to God's whispers guiding us through life's journey. We're eager to learn from you. How do these scriptures speak to your heart? What practices have you found helpful in listening for God's voice? We invite you to share your insights and experiences in the comments below. Engaging in this dialogue not only enriches our understanding but also strengthens our community of seekers and believers striving to hear God's whisper in a noisy world. If you're finding value in this exploration, please like and subscribe to join us on this journey of faith and discovery, where we support one another in our quest for divine connection. As we attune our hearts to listen, we begin to recognize the myriad ways in which God whispers His love, guidance, and truth into our lives. These divine whispers are not typically audible voices or dramatic visions. Instead, they manifest as gentle impressions, subtle promptings, and quiet assurances that resonate deep within our spirits. They often come as soft yet persistent tugs on our hearts, guiding us toward love, justice, and compassion. In the midst of life's chaos, these whispers can provide unexpected moments of clarity when confusion reigns. They may arrive as sudden peace that descends during turmoil or as inexplicable courage that rises when we confront our fears. Learning to recognize these whispers requires practice and patience, as well as a willingness to create space for them amidst the noise of everyday life. One of the most profound whispers of God is the assurance of His unconditional love. The verse "I have loved you with an everlasting love," Jeremiah 31 verse 3, serves not just as a beautiful sentiment but as a deeply personal message that God whispers into each of our hearts. In a world where love is often conditional and fleeting, where our worth can be tied too closely to performance or appearance, this whisper of everlasting love is nothing short of revolutionary. It speaks of a love that predates our existence, one that persists through our failures and shortcomings, and one that will outlast even our earthly lives. When we truly hear and internalize this whisper, it has the power to transform how we perceive ourselves and how we interact with others. This profound realization can lead us to embrace our identities as beloved children of God, fostering healthier relationships built on mutual respect and understanding rather than fear or competition.
In moments of fear and uncertainty, God's whisper comes as a gentle reminder, "Fear not, for I am with you," Isaiah 41 verse 10. This assurance is not merely a trite platitude or a call to blind optimism, it embodies a profound truth about the nature of our reality. This whisper reassures us that we are never truly alone, that the Creator of the universe is intimately involved in our lives, caring for us in ways we may not always see or understand. Importantly, this divine message does not promise an absence of challenges or difficulties. Rather, it assures us of a presence that will sustain us through whatever trials we may face. It's a call to courage rooted not in our own strength but in the unwavering presence of the divine. By internalizing this truth, we can approach life's uncertainties with greater confidence and resilience, knowing that we are supported by an all-loving God who walks beside us every step of the way. As we reflect on these themes, let's consider practical ways to cultivate an awareness of God's whispers in our daily lives. One effective practice is setting aside intentional time for prayer and meditation, creating sacred moments where we can quiet our minds and open our hearts to receive divine guidance. This could involve starting each day with a few minutes dedicated to stillness, allowing ourselves to be present before God before diving into the busyness ahead. Additionally, journaling can be an invaluable tool for tracking how God speaks into our lives. Writing down thoughts or impressions during prayer can help clarify what we believe God may be communicating. Another powerful practice is engaging with Scripture regularly, not just reading it but allowing it to speak into our circumstances. Reflecting on verses like Jeremiah 31 verse 3 or Isaiah 41 verse 10 can help reinforce those messages in times when we need them most. By memorizing key scriptures or creating visual reminders around our homes or workspaces, we can keep these divine truths at the forefront of our minds. Ultimately, cultivating an environment where listening becomes second nature allows us to recognize God's gentle nudges more readily, transforming how we navigate both ordinary moments and extraordinary challenges. When life seems chaotic and our future uncertain, God whispers to us through the profound words of Jeremiah 29 verse 11, "I have plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This verse serves as a beacon of hope during tumultuous times, reminding us that there is a greater narrative at play, a divine purpose that transcends our immediate circumstances. The context of this scripture is crucial. It was spoken to the Israelites who were exiled in Babylon, a time when they faced immense challenges and uncertainties about their future. In this situation, God reassures them that despite their current hardships, He has a plan for their well-being. This message resonates with us today, as we often find ourselves grappling with our own struggles and uncertainties. The whisper of God's promise does not guarantee a life free from pain or struggle, rather, it assures us that even our difficulties can be woven into a larger tapestry of meaning and purpose. This understanding invites us to trust in God's overarching plan, even when we cannot see the full picture. It encourages us to shift our perspective from one of despair to one of hope. When we are overwhelmed by life's challenges, it can be easy to lose sight of the bigger picture and feel isolated in our struggles. However, this verse reminds us that we are part of a divine story that is continuously unfolding. By trusting in God's plans for us, we can find peace amid chaos and assurance that He is working for our good. In times of exhaustion and overwhelm, when the burdens of life feel too heavy to bear, God's whisper comes as a gentle invitation, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest," Matthew 11 verse 28. This invitation speaks directly to our deepest need for rest, not just physical relaxation but soul-level renewal. In a world that often glorifies busyness and productivity, this call to rest is revolutionary. It challenges the notion that our worth is tied to our achievements or how much we can accomplish in a day. Instead, it invites us to lay down our striving and find solace in God's sufficiency. This whisper is an invitation to relinquish control over our lives and trust in God's provision. We often carry burdens that weigh heavily on our hearts, expectations from ourselves and others, fears about the future, or regrets from the past. The promise of rest is not merely about taking a break from work or responsibilities, it's about finding refuge in God's presence. When we come to Him with our weariness, we discover that true rest is found not in the absence of activity but in the presence of God Himself. The beauty of meditation lies in its ability to foster intimacy with God. As we engage with Scripture through Lectio Divina, we learn to listen attentively not only for what the text says but also for how it speaks to our current circumstances. Each step of this practice, reading slowly, reflecting on its meaning, responding in prayer, and resting in God's presence, allows us to absorb the truth contained within those sacred words fully. This process encourages us to ask questions such as, what does this passage reveal about God? How does it relate to my life today? What invitation is God extending through these verses? By immersing ourselves in this contemplative practice, we cultivate a deeper awareness of God's voice amid life's distractions. As we embark on this journey of spiritual attunement, it is essential to recognize that these practices are not reserved for the spiritually elite or those who have perfected their faith. Instead, they are accessible to all who incline their hearts to listen. The whispers of God are available to everyone willing to create space for them, an invitation extended to each one of us regardless of our past experiences or current struggles. As we learn to recognize and respond to these whispers, we find ourselves drawn into a deeper relationship with the divine, a relationship characterized by trust, love, and mutual understanding. We would love to hear about the whispers you've experienced in your own life. How has God spoken to your heart? What messages have resonated most deeply with you? Sharing these experiences can be incredibly powerful. They not only affirm our individual journeys but also encourage others who may be struggling with their own faith. When we share how God has moved in our lives, whether through moments of clarity during prayer or unexpected comfort during trials, we contribute to a collective narrative of hope and resilience. As we continue this journey together, let's encourage one another in listening for God's gentle voice amidst life's noise. Your insights could inspire someone else who is searching for direction or comfort. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that explores the depths of spiritual connection and growth. Together, let's cultivate an environment where we can share openly about our experiences with God's whispers, supporting each other as we navigate the complexities of life while remaining anchored in His promise. Journaling emerges as a profound tool for spiritual listening, offering a unique avenue for reflection and connection with God. By creating a written record of our spiritual journey, we develop a heightened awareness of God's subtle movements in our lives. This practice is not about crafting perfect prose or adhering to literary standards. Instead, it focuses on honest and raw reflection. When we take the time to write about our struggles, questions, moments of doubt, and experiences of divine encounter, we engage in a process that deepens our understanding of ourselves and our relationship with the divine. Journaling becomes a sacred space where we can pour out our thoughts and feelings without judgment, allowing us to explore the complexities of our faith. Over time, as we revisit our entries, patterns begin to emerge. We might notice how God has been speaking to us through circumstances that seemed ordinary at first glance or through people who have crossed our paths unexpectedly. These insights can be transformative, revealing how God's presence has been woven into the fabric of our daily lives. For instance, you may discover that certain themes recur in your writings, perhaps a longing for peace during turbulent times or a consistent call to serve others. Recognizing these patterns can help us become more attuned to God's voice, enabling us to respond more readily when we sense His guidance. Journaling thus serves as both a mirror reflecting our inner landscapes and a map guiding us toward deeper spiritual awareness. Community plays a crucial role in learning to discern God's voice, highlighting the importance of surrounding ourselves with mature, spiritually sensitive individuals who can provide invaluable guidance. Engaging with others on this journey fosters an environment where we can share our experiences and insights, allowing us to learn from one another. These are people who have walked the path of spiritual listening themselves and can offer wisdom, perspective, and gentle correction when needed. Seeking out spiritual mentors, those who have cultivated their own relationship with God, can be particularly beneficial. They can help illuminate blind spots in our understanding and encourage us to pursue deeper intimacy with the divine. Joining small groups focused on spiritual formation or finding a spiritual director can further enhance this communal aspect of discernment. In these settings, we create spaces for open dialogue about our spiritual journeys, sharing both triumphs and struggles. This exchange of stories not only enriches our own experiences but also strengthens the bonds within the community. Listening to how others perceive God's whispers in their lives can inspire us to be more attentive in our own journeys. Moreover, having a supportive network provides accountability. It encourages us to remain committed to our practices of listening and reflection even when distractions arise or doubts creep in. Mindfulness and present moment awareness become essential spiritual disciplines on this journey toward deeper listening. So often, we find ourselves living either in the regrets of the past or anxieties about the future, which causes us to miss the divine whispers present in each moment. Practicing mindfulness, truly being present, creates receptivity to God's subtle communications that might otherwise go unnoticed. This practice can take many forms. One effective method is breath prayers, where you synchronize your breathing with simple, heartfelt prayers that ground you in the present moment. For example, inhaling while silently saying, "Lord," and exhaling while saying, "I trust you," can anchor your thoughts and help you focus on God's presence. Additionally, mindfulness can be practiced through awareness of God's presence in mundane activities, whether it's washing dishes, walking down the street, or sitting quietly with a cup of tea. By consciously inviting God into these everyday moments, we cultivate an ongoing dialogue that enriches our spiritual lives. This heightened awareness allows us to notice the beauty around us, the laughter of children playing outside or the rustle of leaves in the wind, and recognize these as expressions of God's love and creativity. As we practice mindfulness consistently, we become more attuned to God's voice speaking through creation and through our daily experiences. Physical practices also support our spiritual listening by reminding us that this journey is not solely a mental exercise but a holistic experience involving body and spirit. Contemplative walking is one such practice where each step becomes a prayer, a rhythmic movement that connects us deeply with both the earth beneath our feet and the divine above us. As we walk mindfully, we can reflect on scripture or simply enjoy the silence around us while attuning ourselves to God's presence. Yoga serves as another form of moving meditation that integrates body awareness with spiritual focus. Through intentional movement and breathwork, we create space for inner stillness that allows God's whispers to penetrate our hearts more deeply. Similarly, simply sitting in nature, whether at a park or in your backyard, can foster profound moments of spiritual receptivity. Observing the intricate details of creation, the colors of flowers or the sound of birds singing, can draw us closer to God as we marvel at His handiwork. We invite you to share your own practices of spiritual listening with us. What methods have you found helpful in creating space to hear God's whisper? What challenges have you encountered along the way? Your stories are invaluable. They can inspire and encourage others on this sacred journey toward deeper connection with God. Drop your insights in the comments below so that together we may learn from one another's experiences. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more content exploring the depths of spiritual connection. Let's continue this journey together as seekers striving for greater intimacy with the divine. Hearing God's whisper is not a destination but a lifelong journey of transformation. This journey is characterized by continuous learning, gentle correction, and a growing sensitivity to the divine presence in our lives. Just as mastering any skill requires dedication and practice, so too does spiritual listening demand patience and a willingness to embrace both moments of clarity and periods of apparent silence. It is essential to recognize that this journey is not linear, it ebbs and flows, with some seasons feeling rich in divine communication while others may seem barren or quiet. Each phase contributes to our spiritual growth, shaping us into more attuned listeners who can discern the subtle nuances of God's voice. In our fast-paced world, we often seek instant results and immediate gratification. However, spiritual listening invites us to slow down and cultivate a deeper awareness of God's presence. This process involves creating intentional spaces for reflection and prayer, where we can quiet our minds and open our hearts to receive divine whispers. It requires us to be patient with ourselves as we navigate the complexities of faith and spirituality. Just as a musician practices scales or a painter refines their technique, we must engage in regular spiritual practices that enhance our ability to hear God's voice. This might include journaling, meditation, or simply spending time in nature, each practice helping us develop the skill of listening with intention. There will be seasons when God's whisper seems crystal clear, when guidance flows like a gentle stream, illuminating your path with remarkable precision. In these moments, gratitude and wonder become your primary responses. You might find yourself marveling at the intimate ways the divine communicates, perhaps through a timely scripture passage that speaks directly to your situation or through a conversation with a friend that provides unexpected insight. These experiences can feel like divine affirmations, reinforcing your faith and encouraging you to continue seeking God's presence in your life. During these times of clarity, it is essential to pause and express gratitude for the guidance received, recognizing that such moments are gifts that deepen our relationship with God. However, just as surely as there are moments of clarity, there will also be seasons of apparent silence, times when the whispers seem distant or indistinct. These periods can be challenging. They may evoke feelings of abandonment or confusion as we grapple with the absence of clear direction. Yet it's crucial to understand that these are not moments of divine neglect but rather invitations to explore deeper dimensions of faith. They challenge us to trust beyond our immediate sensory experience and believe in God's constant presence even when we cannot perceive it clearly. In these silent seasons, we are often invited into profound spiritual growth where we learn to walk by faith rather than by sight. The key during these quieter times is to maintain a posture of humble expectancy. This means approaching each moment with an open heart and mind, ready to receive whatever God wishes to communicate without demanding that He do so in specific ways. Spiritual flexibility becomes vital here. We must recognize that divine communication is infinitely more creative and nuanced than our limited expectations allow. By letting go of preconceived notions about how God should speak to us, we open ourselves up to experiencing His presence in unexpected ways, through art, nature, relationships, or even through silence itself. Remember that God's primary language is love. His whispers will always align with His written word and will consistently move us toward greater compassion, deeper connection, and more authentic living. As we learn to discern His voice more clearly, we will find that His guidance challenges us, comforts us, and continually invites us into a more expansive understanding of ourselves and our place in the divine narrative. This understanding helps us navigate life's complexities with grace and purpose. It encourages us to act out of love rather than fear or obligation. We are creating a community of spiritual listeners, and your voice is crucial in this endeavor. Sharing your experiences, your moments of divine encounter, as well as your questions and insights can foster an environment where we all learn from one another's journeys. Each story shared adds richness to our collective understanding of how God communicates with His people. When we come together as seekers committed to hearing God's whispers, we create a supportive network where encouragement flows freely. So let's engage in this dialogue. What have been your experiences with hearing God's voice? How have you navigated the seasons of clarity versus silence? Your stories matter. They hold the power to inspire others who may be struggling on their own spiritual paths. Together, we can learn from each other's journeys and support one another in this sacred quest for deeper connection with the divine. As you reflect on your own journey, remember that every step taken toward understanding God's whispers transforms not just your life but the lives of those around you as well. By engaging in this exploration, liking and subscribing for more content focused on spiritual attunement, you contribute to a community dedicated to growth and connection. Your journey matters, your story is significant, and your willingness to listen can profoundly impact not only your own life but also the lives of others seeking the same divine connection. Let's continue this beautiful exploration together. By choosing to listen, you're not just exploring a personal spiritual path, you're becoming a beacon of hope and a catalyst for collective elevation. Your willingness to tune into the divine frequency has the power to heal generational wounds, break cycles of limitation, inspire those around you, and unlock unprecedented potential. This journey is not merely an individual endeavor, it is a communal one that reverberates through the lives of those you touch. When you commit to listening deeply, you create a ripple effect that can transform not only your own life but also the lives of others in profound ways. Each act of spiritual listening contributes to a larger narrative of healing and growth that transcends individual experiences.
As you embark on this journey of spiritual attunement, consider the impact your story can have on others. Your experiences, struggles, and insights are essential threads in the greater spiritual tapestry of humanity. By sharing your journey, you offer hope to those who may feel lost or disconnected from their own spiritual paths. You become a source of encouragement for fellow seekers who are navigating their own challenges and triumphs. This sacred community thrives on the collective wisdom and shared experiences of its members, fostering an environment where everyone can grow and flourish together. Therefore, we invite you to engage fully in this process, don't just watch from the sidelines. Commit yourself to this transformative journey and embrace the opportunity to connect with others who are also seeking deeper spiritual understanding. In this sacred community of spiritual seekers, we dare to listen deeply, love courageously, and live authentically. Each member brings unique perspectives and insights that enrich our collective experience. By participating actively in discussions, sharing your thoughts and reflections, and supporting one another through challenges, you contribute to a vibrant atmosphere of growth and transformation. This community is built on the foundation of mutual respect and understanding, where everyone's voice matters. As we gather together, whether in person or through virtual platforms, we create spaces for meaningful dialogue that fosters deeper connections with each other and with God. Your story isn't just important, it's essential to the greater spiritual tapestry of humanity. It is through our individual narratives that we can collectively witness the diverse ways in which God moves in our lives. Each testimony serves as a reminder that God's presence is active and transformative in our world today. By sharing your journey, your moments of divine encounter, your struggles with doubt, your breakthroughs in understanding, you contribute to a larger conversation about faith and spirituality that can inspire others to embark on their own journeys. This communal storytelling has the power to uplift spirits, challenge misconceptions, and ignite hope in those who may be searching for answers. As we continue this exploration together, remember that engagement is key. Don't hesitate to share your insights or ask questions within this community. Your voice adds depth and richness to our collective experience. By participating actively, liking content that resonates with you, subscribing for more resources, and engaging in discussions, you help foster an environment where everyone feels valued and heard. Together, let's commit ourselves to this sacred journey of listening for God's whispers amid life's noise. In conclusion, your willingness to listen can transform not just your life, but also the lives of those around you. As you embrace this path of spiritual attunement, remember that every step taken toward understanding God's voice contributes to healing generational wounds and breaking cycles of limitation. Your journey matters, it is significant not only for you but for the community at large. So take heart. Engage fully with this process, share your story, listen attentively to others, and allow yourself to be transformed by the divine whispers that surround us all. Together, we can create a powerful movement of spiritual seekers committed to growth, love, and authentic living.